I'm back at it on this Easter Sunday. I'm trying to get my Jeep up and running this week. I have a little surprise for you guys at the shop. I just picked up my U-joint. It's a conversion U-joint, so it allows me to use that forward flange for the 8.8 and also use my Dana Spicer drive shaft that's factory from the Jeep. Right now I'm heading down, obviously, to my shop. Once I get there, you guys know the deal. I'll check in with you and we'll go from there. If you guessed it, guys, that's the new setup for the Jeep Cherokee, a 35 by 1250 R15. I picked them up from a JK owner, actually. They are 5x5 lug pattern. I got a wheel, I'll show you guys. This brand new spare. Hold on, let me turn this camera around, this is difficult. Literally brand new. Brand spanking new. On a wheel. It's got some good offset to her. Not quite sure what the offset is. It might say it on the back of the wheel. I didn't ask the gentleman. I just know that it's going to clear my OTK setup. And then these are the 4 that he ran. They've got about 1/4 inch of tread left here. I snagged all 5 of these. All 5. This brand new spare on a wheel for $400, guys. 400 bucks. To me, that's a hell of a deal. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I think I got those for a steal. That's probably a $600 or $700 set of wheels and tires. Anyways, guys, we're gonna be moving forward on the Jeep. If you guys watched the last video, we got the lift kit in, the long arms, the cross member, and everything. Today we're gonna be installing shocks, welding the rear shocks on the 8.8, well, the shock tabs, excuse me, and pretty much prepping this thing to get it to roll out of the shop by tomorrow morning. We have some cars in the shop, if you guys didn't notice, and my boss wants them off the lift, so gotta do what he says. It's not mine, sadly. Let's get to moving, I guess. All right, guys. So right now I've got the front shocks installed. If you can't see them over there, I'm working on installing these rear shocks. I picked up some Terraflex bar pin eliminators, and what these suckers will be doing is bolting up here. See those 2 studs right there? It's gonna bolt right there. That way I can bolt my shock to this guy here. It makes it a little easier for install, taking it apart, disassembly, and also provides me a little more flex and a little more travel out of the rear end. So I'm gonna get these suckers on here and probably get the shocks installed, and then we'll move forward to welding the tabs on. After fighting with my welder a little bit, trying to get the settings correct, I got my shock tabs welded onto the axle, and obviously the shocks hanging up. I didn't use those bar eliminators. I threw them in there and I bolted up my shock, and it was like pointing out, and I couldn't line it up with these Warrior product mounts, so I just decided to bolt them up in the factory position and go ahead and weld on the tabs. So they are cooling down right now. After they cool down, I'm gonna probably spray down these axles. Somebody commented on my last video I should have painted my axles like glossy black or something, but I'm not worried about painting them. They're gonna get beat up, scratched up. I mean, I guess it would look a lot better, but if I was going for looks, my Jeep wouldn't look like that. So, but those are in there, guys. We're gonna move over here and check out my new U-joint here. This is the Ford conversion. I think it's like a 1310 and a 1330 or something like that. I'll have to look it up, double check my information, but you guys can see it's a little longer, and that's for the Ford part, and then the short side is for the Dana, for my drive shaft. And then we've got my carrier out. We're gonna be pulling these spider gears and sliding the locker in there, and hopefully getting this front end just about done. Alright guys, there we have it. U-joint is installed. Obviously the flange isn't in there all the way yet. I've just got it lightly bolted down. Drive shaft's all in here. Shocks are also snugged up. Gotta tighten these bolts now. As you guys can see, they're just hanging out in there. Now I get to move on to the front end, figuring out our locker install. Alright guys, now for the Dana 30 locker install. This is going to be the last thing on my list. This is a Spartan locker, and it's a lunchbox locker, and it's a pretty straightforward install. What I'm going to be doing to start off with is I'm going to mark my ring gear here, a little paint marker, clean it up, and then I'm going to unbolt all these bolts here. I'm going to drop my ring, and then right in here you guys can see this cross pin in here, roller pin, whatever you guys want to call it. This holds the center pin in. I have to unbolt the ring, pop this guy out, and then my centering pin will fall out, and then I can remove my spider gears. So I'm going to hop on that, guys, and I'll check in with you when I'm done. Ring's unbolted now. I have to pop that roller pin out and slide the centering pin, and then I'm going to show you guys how the spider gears will end up just kind of falling out, coming out, and how we're going to install our Spartan locker. Alright guys, so I got the roller pin out. All you got to do is just send a punch through the side of your differential, or through the carrier here, this small hole. So just run your punch, tap it through. And now I'm pushing out the centering pin. It's going to be a little shaky because I'm going to be hammering, so mind it real quick guys, sorry. Slowly but surely. You guys get the point. I'll check in with you when I get the pin out. Alright guys. With the pin out, you can pull out your spider gears and such. All you want to do is just slowly turn them, and these side ones will kind of fall. And the top and bottom one. And make sure you collect all the thrust bearings that come off. The Spartan locker does not need the thrust bearings. I don't know about the Aussie or Lockright, but the Spartan, specifically in the instruction manual, do not use, see if you guys can see that, do not use thrust washers right there. So that is a pretty obvious statement there on the instruction manual. I've got both of my thrust bearings out on either spider bearing. All the spider bearings are out, guys. Now we're gonna work on installing our our Spartan locker, excuse me. Alright guys, so the next thing on the step, I'm sorry you can't see my face, I'm just trying to get this stuff filmed and over with for you guys, is you wanna insert your springs and retainers into the actual locking mechanism. If you guys wanna check it out on here, simply just slide that in. See that spring that was in there, guys? These are given to you in the hardware kit. You slide it in, push it all the way down. Goes all the way down, you slide this retaining pin in there and it holds it in place. And this is going to be for later install. Alright guys, with those in, what I'm going to be doing is dropping this guy in here, facing downwards, so it looks like this, and simply sliding it into the side of the carrier for install. It's a little bit of a tight fit, so she'll lock in there, as you guys can see. There we go. Sorry about that, it was a terrible angle. I'm going to work on throwing this next one in here, guys. And before I'm throwing them in, I'm just applying a little bit of high temp all-purpose grease Just doing it on the front and in the splines. It's kind of giving it a little bit of assistance before the oil and stuff is able to get in there when I run the Jeep for the first time. Alright guys, same thing with this guy. This is the fun part, trying to get it to fit. Once I get it to fit, guys, I'll check in with you because I might be here for a minute. Alright guys, it didn't take me but maybe 5 minutes or so, but I got them in there, and as you guys can see, my retaining pins are in the way, not allowing me to line up this locker. So I'm going to cut them a little bit short, that way I can spin it around and line up that centering pin hole. Alright guys, I went ahead and threw in my centering pin. If you guys can't see it right there, and inside the locker. Next thing I'm going to be doing is installing my roller. Same concept with your punch wherever I put mine. And you just tap it in until it hits the bottom. It's gonna be shaking, you guys, so I'm gonna knock it in and I'll check in with you. Alright guys, with that centering pin and your roller pin installed, what you're going to be doing now is just going around in your locker. You guys can barely see it. And these little guys that I threw in here, I'm just going to be pulling them out. And now we're locked. Alright, so now I'm just going to throw my ring back on, bolt it back up, torque all the ring gear nuts, or excuse me, bolts, guys, that I pulled out. Torque these guys down to 75 in a crisscross pattern. And once I do that, she'll be ready to get thrown back in the Jeep. Ta-da! There she is, guys. I torqued down the ring gear bolts, 75 foot-pounds of torque. These guys here, the bearing cap bolts, I think they were about 55, 57 foot-pounds of torque. As you guys can see, the locker's in there. I slid the shafts in there for shits and giggles so you guys can see. Yay! So she's in there. I'm assembling my JKS quick disconnects to my sway bar. Those are just about done. Shoot, I'm looking like I'm about to be done with my lift here. I've got to torque down, tighten all these steering bolts down, put all these clamps on. These lower control arm mounts, they need to get cut off, but that can be another day because I don't think I'm going to be driving my Jeep home tonight. Drive shaft needs to be hooked up. All these bolts still need to be connected, torqued down to their correct foot-pound rating. I need to figure out what I'm doing for this guy also. It really frustrates me. And fill up my diff with some fluid. And I think she'll be good to go. I've got to seal this back end on this 8.8 and bleed the brakes, tighten up the shocks. So close. So close. Of course, the guy with my wheel spacers / adapters bailed on me, so I can't even mock my 35s up. I haven't heard from him. Granted, it is Easter weekend, but he told me that he'd be home at 6 and he'd be ready to sell those to me. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to tighten this stuff up and probably lower the Jeep down, like I said, add some diff fluid and start buttoning things up. For some reason, I never say I have to install the brake lines. They're laying right over here. I forgot to include those, I think, in one of the last videos. And I forgot to include it in this. that is the last piece to my puzzle, I do believe. Everything else is tightening down, torquing down, and making sure it works properly. Alright guys, I'm going to be wrapping it up tonight. I'd say the Jeep is about 85 to 90% of the way done. A few couple things I have to do is throw an axle seal in the passenger side, fill it up with diff fluid, and obviously get my wheel spacers for my 35s. With that being said, guys, she's pretty much done. I mean, I've got brakes here hanging up. They're just waiting on me to finish up this front end, basically tie it all up. The rear end's been all bolted down, secured. Everything's been torqued down. There's that vacuum breather hose right there. I gotta run it up to the top of the unibody. But other than that, guys, she's coming. It's been a long install process, but totally worth it. Look at that flex. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to stuff those 35s under there. Alright guys, well, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna go pick up these wheel spacers. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you guys want to see anything else on the Jeep. I'll try to make it happen. Otherwise that, you guys have a good night, good day, whatever time it is. Be easy. Later.